Hi, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to talk about why the term woo-woo, when used in a derogatory manner, can actually be considered a form of microaggression. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Leah Chantel. So to begin this topic, I have to explain what the word microaggression means, because not everybody knows. So everybody does know what racist means, right? That's pretty clear. And most people don't want to be a racist. But what people don't realize sometimes is they say or do things in kind of a derogatory manner, and they don't realize that they're doing it, and that's kind of considered a form of microaggression. So I'm going to unpack that a little bit more for you so it's more easy to digest and understand. So imagine you're a white person in a workplace and you start twirling like Cardi B, or you start trying to imitate Black culture and you're repeating their phrases or their accents, and there is an African American coworker present who doesn't understand the intent. And it's possible the white person may have no racist intent behind it, but the problem is it's very unclear what the intent is. Is it comedic? Are they making fun of the culture? Are they celebrating the culture? And that's why we can't use blackface or dress up as people from other cultures either, because it's very unclear what we're saying when we imitate that other culture. Are we disrespecting or belittling their values or their religion or spiritual beliefs? Like, nobody really knows for sure when you imitate another culture what you're trying to say, and that's why it's considered a form of microaggression. So it's not exactly the same thing as calling somebody a racist term, by all means, but it's still not a good behavior to engage in, and people do this so often without thinking about it, because we watch all the images on TV, we see Cardi B and we think she's cool, we think she's funny, and we want to be like her, but we're not African American. You see what I mean? And then we imitate something, and then African Americans can feel very insulted by it, and it's just not a wise thing to do, especially not in the workplace. And I'm really grateful to my country for passing out this legislation on microaggression and forcing people in the workplace everywhere to learn about it and understand it, because that's going to help increase understanding between people of other races. I think there are so many things that have happened that leave those boundaries unclear, and people think it's okay to behave in certain ways and they're just having fun with their friends, and it's not okay, you know, at least not in a public arena. I mean, sometimes I've seen men like from different cultures make racist jokes towards each other in jest. They're kind of making fun of each other's cultures, and it's kind of like a male way of hazing each other, you know, like. But if it's just personal between them and they're not sharing that publicly, I don't know, then it's kind of between them. But I would just say it's wiser to not engage in that kind of behavior at all, you know? It's better to avoid it rather than to make a mistake and have it come across the wrong way, that's for sure. And we really need to eradicate and racism and think about our beliefs about other cultures, and what do we really think when we see someone from another culture who's famous on TV, you know? Do we really think that they're great, or do we not think that they're great, you know? And we need to really reflect and think about how we feel about things too, in order to not commit any microaggressions. And part of the reason my government introduced this policy to educate people and inform them about microaggression is because they want our society to be more peaceful. Unfortunately, the rise of terrorism in Canada has increased exponentially in just the past couple of years, and the government's very concerned about race relations within Canada, which is so sad, because in the past we were considered such a free country and such a warm and welcoming country to other cultures and races, and now I'm not so sure that that's the case anymore. And the government wants to be proactive in educating everyone and making sure that we are not giving a green slip to somebody to behave in any prejudiced or hateful manner. And I really respect the government for putting this information out there. So now I've definitely unpacked the word microaggression. That's a big word right there. And now I'm going to talk a little bit about the word woo-woo. So what does the word woo-woo mean, and why is it a microaggression when people use it in a derogatory manner? So woo-woo means spiritual beliefs that are not so common within the major religions, but were once common in a lot of ancient religions. And these can be in the form of ancestor worship, ceremonies, mediumship, belief in guides, belief in communication with the other side, ghosts, interdimensional portals even. It can go as far as that. And you might think, where do these belief systems come from? And I've kind of hinted at it by saying that they're ancient, but I watched a documentary episode on the Navajo Nation recently in the United States, and they believe in interdimensional portals. You see what I mean? So who are you attacking when you're saying woo-woo? Oh, I'm not woo-woo in a derogatory manner. You're attacking indigenous people. You're attacking people with ancient beliefs. And people with ancient beliefs are everywhere in all walks of life. But I'd say the biggest face of these beliefs are indigenous tribes of various kinds, but there are all kinds of white people, African American people who have preserved their ancient beliefs from generations back, who can also feel very offended by this derogatory term. And so we should really stamp it out of our existence, at least when it's used in a derogatory manner. If you believe these things and you want to call it woo-woo for fun, like in jest, I get that. Like that kind of makes sense. But it should not be used in any derogatory manner. And what prompted me to create this video, it wasn't just the Canadian legislation that was talking about microaggressions, but it was also a really disappointing podcast that I was listening to that was recent. It was not that old, and it came from a very famous television figure. In fact, I was going to promote his book and excerpts of his book on my social media. And then I heard this broadcast and that he had used this microaggressive term. And I realized, like, I can't promote any of his stuff if he's behaving in this way publicly, you know? And I couldn't believe it. Like, I'm not going to say who it was or who he said it in front of, because it will make it obvious who it is, and I don't want any trouble. You know, I don't want to go after a very famous person and call them racist publicly. Let's put it that way. That would not be a wise thing to do. But I was just shocked. Like, I can't believe that this TV figure, who's huge and really famous, would say a microaggression like that. And that just shows you, like, even in this past decade, and even the famous people on TV now, they are quite capable of being prejudiced and racist, and you have to be discerning about what you watch on TV and think for yourself about what you actually believe about the world, and make sure that your beliefs are healthy and they're not falling into a racist paradigm. You see what I mean? So back in the 90s, it was much more common for people to behave racist on TV. You know, it's interesting. I was looking back at old talk shows and stuff on the internet, and it's unbelievable what comedians and people would do on TV to make fun of other races. It was just normal in the 90s, and people would do it. And you just can't believe that they got away with it. Like, if they tried that in the 2020s, it would not fly. They would get in so much trouble, you know? But nowadays, we have to be even more aware, even more discerning about what we watch on TV, because there are still public figures on TV who run their own TV shows, who say offensive things and are racist. So, but I won't say who it is. I'm not getting into trouble with that. So I hope you all understand my message though about what I'm saying, and I hope you all learn from it and try to avoid saying microaggressive things in your own life. I know I've made mistakes as a teenager. I think everybody makes mistakes and accidentally says things that they don't mean at various points in their lives. Even Oprah accidentally said once a term that was derogatory towards indigenous people. I forget what it was exactly. It was like a really rare one that I've never heard before, an American one, but But she really learned later that was an offensive term, and she apologized for it on TV, which I really respect her for. So we all do make mistakes, but it's very important that we learn from it and do our best to continually be anti-racist and reflect on our own behavior to make sure that we are as welcoming and loving as possible to people from other belief systems and backgrounds. I hope you're all having a wonderful day, and I hope you all take care. Bye now.